Okay, once again, having to do another live stream for the Pit Stop Show, and I believe we got last week pre-recorded and everything. Yeah, it was last week, and now this week, have to get it live streamed. Because I was gonna. The original plan was to try to get this episode recorded yesterday, but because of some other issues behind the scenes, I couldn't do it, and it was tough for me to tell that to the panelists, Wyatt, Sean, and also Zachary. It was tough for me to do that, but I kind of had to. I didn't really have much of a choice, and I knew that I would have to get this live stream in before I went in for work. So here I am, getting the show in before I head off to work. And this is actually going to be very interesting because there are a lot of topics, and I want to try to get as many in as I possibly can before before either 10:30 or 11 o'clock, because I still need to take a shower, I still need to get dressed, I still need to, get ready to go for work, and I'm not ready for work yet, so I've got time to do this show before I do anything else. So, without further ado, hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 16 of the NASCAR Pit Stop Show. Elijah Leonard, the host. As always, I'm just here by myself for this one, as you would already know, because Wyatt most likely is in school, Sean is probably asleep, Zachary Taylor is probably working on the farm right now, and they've got their own stuff that they're currently dealing with. I mean, just as far as their personal bubbles go. I'm not talking like serious stuff. I'm just saying, they've got stuff to do in their lives too. Let them go and do the things that they need to do in their bubbles, and hopefully next week we can get the show pre-recorded and done. And I'm hoping to do that possibly on Monday. So that way it's done and out of the way. But anyways, let's go ahead, get on down to some of to our set list that we've got for this one. It was reviewing Kansas. Oh my goodness. I didn't watch either race because of the fact, hang on, let me take off my sweatshirt. I didn't watch either race mainly because they were both on cable. But I did hear about the results. I did watch the highlights. The racing itself looked pretty good, especially the restarts. And all out, it was actually, this Kansas weekend was pretty good, I'd have to say. Really, really good. So, I did hear Kyle Busch swept the weekend, and of those wins, of one of those two wins, it was on his birthday, so that's actually really cool. That's the second time in his career, I believe, that he's won on his birthday, so that's really cool to hear, and also witness as well. So, my grade for this weekend, like I said, I didn't watch the entirety of the races, but I watched highlights. That was the only other thing I could watch at the time before the actual race replays had popped up. So, my grade for this weekend, I'm going to have to give it a B+ at best. B+. Because there was some pretty consistent racing at best. So, that's really all I can tell you there. I'm sorry. So let's get on down to some of the topics that we have for this one, for this episode. And to start off on a serious note, there was announced on May 2nd, on Sunday, I'm sure everybody knew about this, that Eric McClure had passed away on Sunday, May 2nd of this year. And he passed away at 43 years old, I want to say. He passed away in his early 40s, and that sucks. That really, really sucks. And you know, just I mean, this is a death that honestly I didn't see coming. This is a death that no one really saw coming, because there were articles coming out probably about a few months prior, talking about Eric McClure possibly coming back to NASCAR. He was trying to work towards that. For those of you who don't know who Eric McClure is, he is most infamously known for his wreck at Talladega in 2012, where he had to be cut out from his car and transported to a local hospital in Alabama. So, that's where Eric McClure. That's where, you know, you'll most likely find Eric McClure. You can look up Eric McClure on YouTube, and I can guarantee you that would be the first clip that pops up, is that wreck at Talladega back in 2012. But I mean, it's not a good way to be best known, you know, if you know what I mean. But you know, either way, just fast forward to now, and honestly, just does suck that this happened. I know somebody else passed away. It was Bobby Unser. He passed away at 87, I believe, around the same day as McClure. But that does, either way. Thoughts and prayers to their families. I know they're going through a lot right now, and I just. You know, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about that. That honestly is very, very tough. That's tough to see. I mean, regardless of who it is, it's always tough to see this being posted up on social media. And you know, just condolences to the McClure and Unser families, and McClure and Bobby Unser. Obviously, those guys are going to be missed dearly. So let's go ahead and move on to another Eric Darnell. The last time that he raced in NASCAR was in the early 2010s in the Xfinity Series back in 2012, I believe. Well, Eric Darnell is back 9 years later. He's going to be back in the Truck Series with Nice Motorsports for tonight's race at Darlington. So this is actually very, very good welcome back to Eric Darnell. He's actually throwing back to one of his old schemes when he drove for Roush. It was the Southern scheme. I can't remember what the rest of the sponsor name is, but I know it's Southern. But either way, Darnell is back. I'm honestly happy and excited to see how he's going to perform, especially in a Nice Motorsports truck, and especially in these types of trucks, because a lot of things have changed in the Truck Series ever since Eric Darnell, you know, left NASCAR and went late model racing. So I'm curious to see how things are going to go. This is a brand new truck for Eric Darnell, a brand new type of truck, and I bet the setup is a little bit different than what he raced with back in the late 2000s. So, I mean, it's just what I'm thinking. That's just a thought. And best of luck to Eric Darnell tonight. Hang on one second. Once again with the phlegm buildup in my throat every time I talk. But let's move on to some silly season early in the Truck Series. This is actually really interesting. Rafael Lessard is out, and Ryan Reed is in the number 24 at GMS Racing. I tried to find out what the reason was for Rafael Lessard being booted out of the 24 truck. I don't even know. I don't even know why. I think it might have been because of some other issues that may have happened outside. I have no clue. I don't know if it's because of health reasons, but either way, Rafael Lessard is getting himself prepared for next year. But as far as Ryan Reed is concerned, I mean, I'm happy to see him back. I'm tongue twisters, man. Tongue twisters are just not the best at talking. But I am happy to see Ryan Reed is back. not in the way that a lot of us had hoped for, but it's good to see him back, and I can't wait to see what kind of work he's going to put together at GMS Racing, driving the 24 truck. So this will actually be the first time that we'll ever see him driving a GMS Racing Chevy, because he has raced in the truck series this year already with the 49 truck earlier this year. So now he's going from a smaller team to a bigger team. So that's fun. Now let's shift our attention over to the Cup Series, and let's focus on 2311. Once again, 2311 has always been the talk of the town ever since they came on board in 2021. Officially, put their team together in 2021. Denny Hamlin has become frustrated with the performance of the team, because he does have some pretty high expectations for the team to go out and run competitively and win in the process. Either that or get top fives. He's been very vocal about this. He's very frustrated, and understandably so. I mean, if I had a startup team and they were the talk of the town and they were going to do really well, and they're all of a sudden not doing all that well, I would be frustrated myself and say, hey guys, what's going on? We gotta, whatever it is that, whatever problem it is that we're having, we need to address that problem. We need to fix it, and we need to move on from there, and we need to try to improve. Because he was talking about, let's talk about improving for the summer, and once we're good enough for the summer, let's try to get better for the fall, and once we get better for the fall, let's get better for the next year, and so on and so on and so on. And right now, Bubba Wallace and 2311 they've run good. They've had some good top 5, top 10 runs, but the finishes have not been able to back them up, because the best finish that Bubba Wallace has managed to get all year this year, and he's gotten this finish 3 times this year, is a 16th place finish. That is the best finish that 2311 has ever had so far this year. And that's it. They've just been this top 20 team at best. Bubba Wallace has been a top 20 driver at best. And Bubba Wallace has shown with his runs, with the runs that he's had, that he is not a top 20 driver at best. The finishes, the numbers just are not there to back up the performance. And that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. And I would understand why Denny's frustrated about it, because, he knows that the team is actually, that does do very good. But like I said, the numbers just are not backing up those good performances. So, I mean, so far we're closing in on the first third of the season, wrapping up after Darlington this weekend. So maybe after this third of the season, we're just going to have to wait and see how 2311 improves for the summer, because we are actually getting close to summer. So, right now, a lot of question marks are up in the air on what's going to happen. What Bubba Wallace's future is going to be at 2311. Is he going to get booted after this year, or is he actually going to get his rear in gear and start performing at the top 5, top 10 level? And if he actually does good enough, if he plays his cards right, possibly win. Right now, that's a long shot, but maybe if 2311 gets better over time, they could put themselves in positions to where they could actually go for wins later this year. There is a chance. They have shown that before, but they need the numbers to back that up. So, let's move on to another Toyota driver in Kyle Busch. With what just happened at Kansas, and Kyle Busch, for the first time since 2019, had gotten his first win of the year earlier in the year, early in the season. That's what I meant to say. For the first time since 2019, Kyle Busch has gotten his first win early in the season. He hasn't done that since 2019. If you remember last year, when Kyle Busch had just had arguably one of his worst years of his entire career, and he managed to get only one win last year. That's the fewest wins that he's ever had, if I remember correctly, since either 2005 or 2007, very early in his career. So, with this win at Kansas, and seeing as the spot that he managed to get his win, the spot in the season that he managed to get his first win of the season at, which was within the first third of the season, could this be a possible resurgence of Kyle Busch? Could Kyle Busch be getting a potential second wind? Possibly. Very possible. It's very, very possible that Kyle Busch could be getting a second wind. Because the thing is that Kyle has dominated the second part of the 2010s. He's dominated the second part of the 2010s from about 2015, where he controversially won the 2015 title after missing a third of the season. He only raced the last 2/3 of the year, and within those 2/3 of the year, he was granted a chase waiver, got into the chase, worked his tail end off, and won the title. And to this day, people will still call it the most controversial title win of the 2010s, arguably. But after that year, I mean, that's when Kyle Busch had actually done really good. And then 2017 was when the big three came around. And, when the big three came around, Kyle Busch, along with Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr., were practically unstoppable. But ever since the 2020s came around, they've kind of lost that edge. All three of them have, especially Kevin Harvick now. So I'm thinking that this year could be a second win for Kyle Busch, but I don't think it'll be to the same effect as what the kind of success that he's had in the 2010s. That's just what I'm thinking. And I could talk about the next gen car, but I've already discussed that on NASCAR Hot Take. So if you want the panelists' opinions about the Generation 7 car, I will be sure to include that in the topic set list for next week, as so long as one of them reminds me. If one of them is watching this, I'm really hoping that you remind me, because I may not remember next week. So we're just gonna have to roll with the ball and just wait and see what happens. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and preview Darlington. That starts tonight. We've got the Truck Series tonight, 7:30. We've got the Xfinity race tomorrow, and we got the Cup race on Sunday. And I also realized that they did not move the Southern 500 to earlier this year, as they have in the past, but they just moved Throwback Weekend to this year, which, either or, I still don't agree with it. But, anyways. Darlington, track too tough to tame. It's been around for the last 70 plus years. And honestly, I'm still thinking that we're going to see that typical type of Darlington racing where, you're going to get the Darlington stripe. You're going to have to be courteous through the corners. You're going to have to be courteous and have some common sense when it comes to racing side by side, because the turns at Darlington are relatively narrow. So you're gonna have to be very, very careful with how you manage to get around the racetrack. And just because the straightaways are yay freaking wide, it could mean that you could go about 7 or 8 wide down there, but how long will that last? Probably about 2 seconds. After that, you're gonna have to get sorted out real fast. But have we seen that at Darlington? Absolutely not. Will we ever see it? Maybe but most likely no. Okay, so let's go ahead, get on down to predictions. I'm gonna go ahead and get the point system up here. So these are the wrong points, so I still need to update them. But either way, it's Wyatt Walker who comes in with the points lead. I'm still second with just a few points back. Sean Ard is third, Zachary Taylor fourth, everybody else from Nathan Stapleton down to Ryan Kendall, they're all at 0 points. So, I still need to update the points, and I still need to start showing the points on the screen more often because I haven't been doing that. So, let me get the prediction music started because everybody has already made their predictions with the exception of me. And I'm going to leave my predictions blank until I get to my prediction. I'm going to leave my predictions blank until I get down to my predictions, and I'm going to write them in. I'm going to write them in as I go. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get the entry list put up on my end. So this is Cup. This is Xfinity. And this right here is trucks. Okay, here we go. Let me zoom in on all of these. Okay, there we go. So, let's get on down to everybody's predictions for the Darlington weekend. For Sean Ard in the Truck Series, he chose John Hunter Nemechek as his driver to win. For his driver to stay away from, he chose Grant Enfinger. And for his dark horse, he chose Sheldon Creed. For his Xfinity predictions, he chose Austin Cindric as his driver to win. He chose Daniel Hemrick as his driver to stay away from. And for dark horse, Brandon Jones. And for his Sean's Cup predictions, his driver to win, Kevin Harvick. For his driver to stay away from, Chase Elliott. And for his dark horse, Austin Dillon. Zachary Taylor's predictions goes as follows. I'm going to do his method for this one because this is exactly how he put it. For his driver to stay away from, Chase Purdy. That's true. This is trucks, by the way. For the dark horse, John Hunter Nemechek. And for his driver to win, Grant Enfinger. For Xfinity, he chose Michael Annett as the driver to stay away from. For dark horse, Jeb Burton. For his driver to win, Austin Cindric. And finally, for his Cup predictions, his driver to stay away from, Austin Dillon. For the dark horse, Denny Hamlin. And for his driver to win, and this is a bold one, Matt DiBenedetto. And now, Wyatt Walker's predictions. And I'm going to do it exactly how he put it here. Derek Kraus is his dark horse for trucks. His driver to stay away from, Ryan Reed. And for his driver to win, Ren Rhodes. This is the second time that the second time that Wyatt has completely messed up. I know he meant to say Ben Rhodes, but I bet his phone probably auto-corrected and he said Ren Rhodes, but I'm just gonna pick on him here and say Ren Rhodes is the driver to win. Anyways, for his Xfinity predictions, for his dark horse, Ty Gibbs. For his driver to stay away from, Jeb Burton. And for his driver to win, Noah Gragson. And finally, for his Cup predictions, he chose Chase Elliott as the dark horse. For his driver to stay away from, Ryan Newman. And for his driver to win, Kyle Larson. Ooh, that's actually pretty interesting. Probably did it because 2018 he dominated nearly the entire race until the hiccup on pit road on the last part of the race. But we're not going to get into that. That's kind of like the top 10 anime deaths right there. But we're not going to get into that. Okay, so here come my predictions for the Darlington weekend. So for the Truck Series, I want to say for my driver to win. This is actually kind of tough, but I'm going to say for my driver to win. Ooh, this is tough because this is the second race at Darlington for the Truck Series in this decade, that is. Ooh, I'm going to say for my dark horse. Or not dark horse, for driver to win. I'm going to choose Ben Rhodes again. Ben Rhodes, I believe out of all of them, has just so far been... He's the defending winner of the race. I think he's probably going to... go two in a row, 2 years in a row that'll win at Darlington. Driver to stay away from. Oh, man. I have a feeling Wyatt is going to try to get some easy points by choosing Ryan Reed as the driver to stay away from, because he pulled the same stunt with Bill Lester, and guess what? That was an easy point for him. So for Ryan Reed, he's choosing Ryan Reed. I know what he's doing. I think I'm gonna have to ban that because after this week, I'll let it slide, but I'm probably just gonna have to ban that because the thing is that, you know, it's easy. It's easy points if you do that. It's easy points if you choose somebody who's just coming back, and there's a chance. And since they're driving for a good, a good team in GMS, he could either do good, or he could just suck. And that's kind of the same situation with Bill Lester. He could have either done really well, or he would have just sucked. And he sucked. But at least he brought the truck home in one piece. And as long as Ryan Reed, regardless of what position he finishes in, brings the truck home in one piece, everything will be fine. But for right now, Ryan Reed is Wyatt's driver to stay away from, and I'll let it slide for this week because the thing is, this is Ryan Reed's first start with a bigger team this year. And I'm talking specifically this year. And he's automatically choosing him as the driver to stay away from in an effort to get more points. So I think after this weekend, I'm probably just gonna have to ban that. It's that way I can prevent easy points, because I don't want it to be easy on everybody, including myself. I want it to be hard. I want it to be difficult. I wanted to make life difficult for everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But I do want it to be just at least somewhat difficult on everybody, including myself. So speaking of driver to stay away from, I'm not going to choose Todd Gilliland because I know what'll happen if I choose him as the driver to stay away from. He'll arguably do really, really good. For my driver to stay away from, I'm probably gonna have to choose Carson Hocevar as the driver to stay away from, and I hate to do that because he's a Michigan boy like me. But you know, Carson has done relatively good this year, but I'm not sure how he's gonna do at Darlington. I don't think I've ever seen him perform at Darlington. Yeah, until tonight. But I'm not gonna be around to watch the Darlington race tonight, at least the start of it, nor all of it, because I'm gonna be at work. And when I come home from work, I'm still not gonna watch it because it's on cable. But for my dark horse, however, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, ooh, man, this is tough. You know what? I'm gonna do this to him. I'm gonna say Todd Gilliland's the dark horse, and watch. As soon as I say Todd Gilliland's the dark horse, he's gonna wreck, and he's going to finish lower, which would be stupid. Which would be absolutely stupid. Okay, Xfinity, and of course Kyle Busch is in this race. Freaking darn it! My gosh. Driver to win. Oh, this is Cup. Never mind. Whoops. Why did that show up in the middle? Okay, anyways. Sorry. Wrong entry list. I was looking at Cup. Alright. That was a oops-a-daisy moment on my part. But anyways. My driver to win for Xfinity. Wow, Denny Hamlin's not in this race. Wow, that is a shocker. That is an absolute shocker that Denny Hamlin is not in this race. I think this is another one of those dash for cash races. I've got no clue. I've got no clue. I want to say for my driver to win. Oh, I had something in my eye. I'm going to say for my driver to win. Man, this is actually kind of tough. It's closing in on 10:30. It's a little past 10:30 now, but you know what? I'm committed to do my Xfinity picks, and I'm almost done with the show, so I gotta get this put in here. I'm gonna say for my driver to win, probably gonna go for the obvious here. Austin Cindric, I'm going to choose as my driver to win. I know he has sucked at Darlington in the past, but I'm still thinking he's actually going to do really good this year because, you know, he's not with Roush. He actually he's with Penske this year, as he was last year and the year before that, and he's been doing good this year. And is there a chance that Austin Cindric could just come out of nowhere and win at Darlington? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So, I'm going to say he's my driver to win. Driver to stay away from, on the other hand. I'm going to choose Michael Annett. Michael Annett's my driver to stay away from because if you remember last year, I think it was near the end of the race, he crashed out. He wrecked, and I don't think he finished all that well last year. My dark horse, I'm gonna say Brandon Jones is the dark horse. Brandon Jones is gonna be my dark horse for this one. He won it last year. He may not be able to win it this year, but there's a chance that he could do good and still get a good finish. He's been doing spectacular this year. This has to be the best year of his Xfinity Series career. I mean, he's gotten quite a few top 5s, he's gotten quite a few top 10s. So it's a no-brainer. In this type of situation, it's a no-brainer. I'm just saying. But here we go. Cup predictions, the main event. I'm gonna say for my driver to win. Let's see. 2019, it was Eric Jones. Last year, it was Kevin Harvick. Because let's see, throughout the 2010s, let's see who's all won at Darlington all throughout the 2010s. You've had Denny Hamlin, Regan Smith, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, who was the other one? Truex, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones, last year Kevin Harvick. This was in I'm talking specifically from the Southern 500, by the way. And I know this is not the Southern 500, but I'm talking about drivers who have specifically won when Darlington was just on the schedule once. This year, it's on there twice. Last year is on there 3 times, but we're not going to get into that. I'm going to say for my driver to win. Man, this is a toss-up. It's a toss-up. Man. I'm going to say for my driver to win, I'm going to say Denny Hamlin's my driver to win. I think Hamlin's going to crush it. My driver to stay away from. My driver to stay away from. Man. This is tough. But I'm going to say Ryan Newman is my driver to stay away from. I know I'm kind of just throwing out predictions. I know I'm probably just throwing out names. This is probably what it just feels like. I mean, it technically is kind of. But, you know. These are just predictions. There's a 50-50 chance that it could either be right or wrong. So, you know, it's worth a shot. And my dark horse. I'm going to choose Brad Keselowski. This is my dark horse. That was probably a voice crack when I said those predictions. But there it is, right there. Those are my predictions. Those are my predictions for Darlington this weekend. So, just some final thoughts before this weekend gets underway tonight. I'm thinking this is going to be a really good Darlington weekend. This could be a spicy one as well, at best. But I'm really hoping that I can get this pre-recorded next weekend, for next week, and we can just go from there. So, without further ado, I might as well just go ahead and end this off right here and get ready for work, because I still need to do that. So thank you guys a lot for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you have not considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And that about does it